bare stage with only a few set pieces. A projection screen is placed center stage. At Rise, voices of protesters heard off stage singing, "We shall overcome," as projections of the civil rights movement are seen on screen. Lights fade up on the spirit of King.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We had barely settled in Atlanta when newspapers reported startling developments in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Projection of 4 sit-in students.
The time of struggle was at hand. On February 2nd, 1960, 4 students from North Carolina A&T College marched into Woolworth's, sat down at his lunch counter, and refused to leave until they were served. The sit-ins were underway, and long last, Negro students were becoming involved in the struggle. This made me proud. In point of fact, they were attempting to do what SCLC had on its agenda for 1960, to desegregate eating facilities in southern cities.
Projection out.
Not long after this historic event, I received news that a Montgomery grand jury had indicted me on a charge of falsifying my state tax returns. This upset me greatly because the public would think I was guilty. My enemies had previously done everything against me but attack my character and integrity. Though I was not perfect. If I have any virtues, one of which I am most proud of was my honesty where money was concerned. I still can't understand how they could have made such a claim. I worked so hard to do everything within the confines of the law. I'll tell you what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was to find the person who made this false accusation and beat the living. No. As it turned out, there was no need for this type of reaction because, to my surprise, a verdict of not guilty was given in this case of tax fraud. Always I worried that the movement robbed me of time with my children. Yoki, who was 6, and little Marty, who was 4. Our new baby, Dexter Scott, stayed mostly in Corella's care. I had a problem holding newborn babies. The baby's head always ended up under my armpit. I played with my children intensely, trying to cram days and sometimes weeks. In just a few hours, I told them jokes, I teased, and I tickled. I loved them. Like my parents, I tried to shield the children from racial prejudice, from what it meant to be colored in Dixie.
Coretta enters. Spirit of King becomes Dr. King.
How is she?
She's fine.
I don't think we should have a television in this house.
Martin, that's not the answer, and you know it.
I still can see her kids.
All she really needs is you.
Coretta, isn't it funny that I can sit down and talk to people I don't even know, and yet I can't talk to my own daughter? How can you tell your child that because of the color of her skin, she can't go where she wants to go?
I know, but we've got to tell her. Martin, Funtown is not the only park in Atlanta.
Coretta, Yolanda is going to Funtown.
Martin, Funtown is closed to colored children.
My children are not going to be deprived of anything.
I am tired of hiding the truth. We should have both sat down and told Yolanda about segregation a long time before now. But you were not here.
No.
It's getting so... You're never here.
We've been through this.
The children are not the only ones being deprived.
Don't do this to me, Coretta.
No, Martin, don't you do this to me.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about our marriage.
What about our marriage?
You really don't know, do you?
No, I don't.
The children need a father, and for God's sake, I need a husband.
Coretta, I am doing all I can to spend more time with you and the children.
It's not good enough.
What else can I do?
I think you know the answer to that already.
Coretta,
No, not now. Yolanda's more important right now.
I'm trying, Coretta.
Don't worry about Yolanda not being able to visit Funtown. What she and this family needs is you.
Coretta.
Please. Have you seen Yolanda's coloring book?
It's outside in the swing. Coretta, I just...
We'll talk later.
Exit. King becomes spirit of king.
I recall Coretta telling me that when I was in the Albany jail in Georgia, Yolanda had been crying for me and wanted me to come home. When Coretta explained that Daddy was in jail so all people might go where they liked, Yoki said, well, good. Tell him to stay in jail until I can go to Funtown. Coretta was 9 months pregnant with our 4th child. The new baby was christened Bernice Aberdeen, Bunny for short, after Mama. Bunny was the last of the 4 out of 8 compromises Coretta and I had made when we were newlyweds.
Looks at watch. There's protection of Malcolm X.
One adversary whom I had great respect for was Malcolm X. Now, I met Malcolm once in Washington, and I thought him to be very articulate with a great concern for the problems we faced as a race. But as I said in Playboy, I wish he would talk less about violence, because violence is not going to solve our problems.
Projection of Lincoln Memorial. Choir heard off stage humming, We Shall Overcome.
It was felt by many that I was pushing too far, too fast. This was also the argument reverberated through Congress that summer of '63, which made President Kennedy's Civil Rights Bill increasingly doubtful. So details from a long projected march on Washington was completed. It was elected that the affair take place on August 28th, with myself and many other dignitaries each to give an 8-minute speech. Now, for me, this will be rather difficult since I've been known to be a little long-winded. It was agreed to hold the mass demonstration itself at the Lincoln Memorial, a fitting historic destination.
Looks at watch.
The ceremonies began at 1:30 with the Star-Spangled Banner and was followed by performers and speeches. And I might add that each speech was 8 minutes or less, I know, because I timed them. I noticed the crowd getting restless. Then Mahalia Jackson rose to sing.
Actress playing Alberta enters and sings, I've been duped and I've been scorned. At the song's end, she exits with a pause and sound cue as Spirit of King becomes Dr. King.
50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. I have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the hiking Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we're free at last.
End of protection.